Hi everyone, welcome to Empty Nest Creations. My name is Wendy. Thank you so much for joining me for this video today. It's time for Sonnets Makers Box again, and the December's Makers Box is super special this month. The designs were curated by Sonnet, and it's all about Cardinals this month. So much happiness here in these pages and in these paints. So let me show you what's in the box this month. We always get 2 DIY paints and 2 fusion mineral paints. This month the DIY paints are the colors Crinoline and Apothecary. And for the fusion mineral paints we have Snowdrop and Park Bench. Love these colors. We also get a milk paint in each kit, and this month our color is Scarlet. So this will be fun to work with as well. And then we get 2 of Upcycles decoupage papers. This month we have Cardinal Ephemera, and this has some beautiful cardinals on here. There's some on the front, and then there's 2 more on the back. These are nice large images. And then we also have the Songbird Studies. So this has some music and some more cardinals. Flip this one over so you can see the other side as well. Beautiful papers. I'm going to have fun working with these. Then we get 2 of the painted photographer papers. And this month we have this one, which is called the Cheerful 5. Beautiful cardinals. These are painted by Connie, the painted photographer. And then we have Midnight Glow. This is the 3-up page, and we have these beautiful painted lanterns. See if I can get the better picture here. So we have 2 of the smaller ones and 1 larger picture. And these will be fun to work with as well. And then we got this beautiful cardinal napkin that we can work with. So I'm going to pull out some thrift store finds, and we are going to get started working with these beautiful images. So let's jump into project number 1. So for my first project today, I'm going to be upcycling a tray that I picked up at the thrift store a couple of days ago. I paid $3.99 for this tray, and it's really nice. It's a good size, but it also has a glass insert in the base, which makes this a really good tray to use to serve drinks or even some snacks on, because you can just wipe the glass off. So to prep this piece, I am going to take it apart, and then I'm going to take the frame outside and give it a good coat of shellac, because we're going to be using milk paint on this. It had an original paint coat of brown on it, and there were some paint drips from that original paint coat that I didn't catch. So later on I'll go in and sand those down. But we're going to be using the Upcycled paper. This is the Songbird Studies by Upcycled. And I'm just going to be using a part of this paper to cover the base of this tray. So first I'm going to take it apart and take that price tag off the bottom there. This goes in kind of like a picture frame. So I'm just going to take it apart, and then we're going to prep our paint. And I'm using, like I said, I'm using the Sweet Pickins milk paint in the color Scarlet. And you mix this 1 to 1. So I did 2 scoops of water, 2 tablespoons of water, and then I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of the milk paint powder. I put my water in first because this just helps to dissolve that paint more smoothly, so you don't get as many lumps and bumps in your paint. And then I'm just going to whisk this for a few minutes to make sure that it's good and mixed together, and then let it stand for about 10 minutes. This is a color of milk paint that I have never used before. So now it's been that 10 minutes, and I'm just stirring it up to incorporate all of the paint with the water and make sure that it's well incorporated. And then we're going to give this 2 coats of paint, drying in between coats. And when you use milk paint, the first coat can generally look a little scary. And you might think that you're ruining your piece, or that it's not going to come together, but trust me, it will. You just have to trust the process. Get that first coat on, let it dry, and then go in with that second coat. Milk paint is a little unpredictable. You never know what you're going to get. I did want some crackling in here, but I didn't really want any chipping. And usually with the shellac, you can get the crackle, but not as much chipping. And that's what I wanted. So here I'm just going in with that second coat. I painted the entire inside of the frame first, and then I go back and paint the outside. This one still looked a little weird when the second coat was wet, but once it dried, it was more of a solid coverage. Milk paint does need to be sealed, and you can do that with a top coat sealer, a liquid sealer, or you can do it with a wax. You can do it with a spray-on sealer, whatever works best for you. For this project, I gave it a coat of liquid patina. So here you see I'm sanding off those paint drips that were next to the handles. Just smoothing that out some so that they don't stand out when I finish my paint job. So I did that on both sides because the handles on both sides had those drips. But when all this is dry, I go in and give it a good coat of liquid patina to seal in the milk paint. Y'all let me know in the comments below what plans you have for the holidays. Are you getting together with family or friends? Are you going somewhere for Christmas? Now that my son has 2 children and they're 6 and 3, they like to do Christmas at their house. So we'll go over there for breakfast, and then we'll go back later in the day for dinner with the entire family. But we go in the morning and watch the boys open their gifts. And then we'll go back and we play games, and we have a good time. Mom used to be in charge of the games, and now I do all the games. I plan the games, and get the prizes for the games. So it's a lot of fun. So now this is the insert that goes under the glass in the bottom of the tray. And it had a little piece of like a velvety fabric on it. And so I'm just using my heat tool to soften the adhesive here so that I can just pull that off. So we're going to decoupage on this piece of backer, and so I wanted to get all that off. So it came off pretty easy once I heated up that adhesive. And here I'm just kind of going in and removing any of that little felty fabric that was left on there. And then we're going to put a coat of paint. And I'm using the Fusion paint here in the color Chateau. This is a all-in-one paint. It has a primer and a top coat built in. But I just wanted to have a nice creamy color to decoupage on so that the images on the decoupage paper will stand out. So once that's dry, we're going to just cut out a piece of this paper. And I'm just going to use this bottom part here. I wanted the art journal, that section, to be in the center of my tray. And I'm just checking to make sure it fits and it's where I want it to be. And then I'm just going to wet the paper using a mister bottle and kind of set it where I want it. And then I'm just going to fold down the top part of the bottom, fold the bottom up. And then we're going to use liquid patina to decoupage this paper down. And I just put a little bit down on the surface and then use my brush to just smooth that out. Wetting this paper really does help to decrease wrinkles. This piece, when it is finished, is wrinkle free. And I like that about this paper and this method of putting it down. And then I'm going to cover the entire top with a coat of liquid patina and set this aside to let it dry completely. And once it was dry, I took a little piece of sandpaper and I'm just going around the edges and sanding off all of that excess paper. And then we're ready to assemble this project back together. Now I've already used the liquid patina on the frame. I'm going to put that glass back in, and the board didn't fit quite right when I purchased it. It wasn't all the way in, so I sanded down the edges a little bit just to make it fit better, and then just sliding those tabs back in, and this project is done. This was an easy upcycle, and it's one that once Christmas and winter are over, you can pull this out and put another piece of paper in there. You could put a black background and put some pictures of your children in there. You could really change this up for any season. Maybe do something for Valentine's Day next. But I just really love how this turned out. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this project. And with that, we're going to move on to project number 2. I had some of the milk paint left over, so we're going to use that paint on another project. I picked up this little candle house at the thrift store. It has a little mirror in the back, and it's made to put a candle in. It has an opening on the top, so you could put a real candle inside of it. And I'm going to give this a coat of paint. So now on the bottom, this has a little sticker that says Walmart on it, and it's an old one, probably from the 80s. It had a little glass piece on the inside that was frosted with some sort of paint, and I'll show you that in a little bit. I took that out. And I'm not painting the inside, but I did cover up the mirror that's in the back. I covered it up with some tape just to protect it and keep it from getting any of the shellac spray on it or any of the paint that I'm putting on here on the mirror. And so I'm going to give this 2 coats of paint. And I'm not worried about the hardware. I just paint right around the hardware, and if I can't paint around it, then I just paint over it. It's no big deal. I'm painting the back and the front and the top. I'm going to leave the bottom alone. I did get some paint on the bottom, but I just used a little bit of sandpaper and sand that off. So again, that first coat looks a little thin, doesn't look like it's going to cover, but when we come back in with this second coat, it covers really well. And then once that's dry, I'm going to give it a little sand. This just smooths it out, gets rid of any of the bumps that might be in there from the lumps that were in the paint, and it just makes it nice and silky smooth. And you can see on the inside of the door frame, some of the paint did not adhere. We got some chipping, but that's fine. This is supposed to look old. Here I'm sanding any paint off that got on the bottom. And you can see that vintage Walmart sticker down there on the bottom. It's gold. And I just left it there. Now this is the glass that was in the front, and it has some sort of like frosty glass paint on it, and I'm just scraping that off and using my little razor tool here to get that off, and then using some Windex to just clean that up really well. Came off really easy. I was worried it was going to be a challenge to get it off, but it came off pretty easy. I'm just going in and making sure I got it all off. And then we'll set that aside. We're going to work on that mirror in the back. And then when we're finished, completely finished, we'll put the glass in. I just didn't want to chance breaking that glass. So I have this little transfer. This came from Santa's Hollow, an IOD transfer. And I'm just making sure that there's nothing on that mirror back there so that my transfer will adhere. Lay it where I want it and use my little transfer tool there to rub it down. And these stick really well to glass. It's just a challenge getting my hands down in there. And then I burnish it down really well. And now I'm going to put that glass back in. It just had these 2 little like round metal pieces that were screwed in to hold the glass in. So I'm just putting those back in with my little tiny electric screwdriver, battery operated screwdriver. And now that one is complete. This one turned out so cute. It looks really nice with a little candle in it. I just put a little tiny battery operated votive candle in there. You could put a pillar candle in there, whatever you want. You could put a real candle in there because it is open at the top so that the candle can get oxygen and not catch on fire. It does have openings on each side as well. Putting a candle in wood is kind of scary to me, so I would just use the battery operated one. And with that, we're going to move on to project number 3. For this project, I picked up this little can vase at the thrift store, and this one's going to be a super simple upcycle. In each of Sonnets Maker's boxes, she has a Maker's digital press where she gives us 5 digital prints that we can use for our upcycles, and this is called the Redbird collection, and this is one of the, I'm going to be using one of the prints from that. But to get started here, I'm just going to paint this galvanized bucket with DIY paint in the color crinoline. I'm going to give it 2 coats of this paint, covering just the outside and the little handle. I do paint that little ring handle as well. And I'm not looking for a perfect coverage. It's okay if it's a little rustic looking. Doesn't matter. But I do give it 2 coats all the way around. I don't do anything on the inside. If you wanted to, you could put some live evergreen branches in here with some water. You could always put a little mason jar in there with some water and put your flowers in if you wanted. I'm going to use it for artificial greenery. But you can use it. That's why I didn't paint the inside, so you could use it however you want to. And so here we're going in with that second coat. And it covers really, really well. You can see the difference in the first coat and that second coat. Sorry for the glare on the video today. I'm not sure what was going on causing that. I'm filming in the exact same spot that I usually do, so I don't know. Now this is the print. This is, each one has 2 small pictures and 1 larger picture. And I just printed this off on my printer. I have a laser printer. And I'm doing this on rice paper. So I just put a little 2-sided tape down on a regular piece of printer paper and tape that rice paper down to it. And I'm going to use a wet paintbrush here. To do the wet tear method on these. And you'll see I flip it over. Sometimes the ink can keep the water from penetrating through the paper, so I wet it on the back, and that just helps it to get into those fibers and makes it easier for you to tear the edges. Look how easy that is. It just tears so easy when it's wet. And I just purchased some rice paper from Amazon, a little pack of rice paper. And I haven't figured out how to print on it without taping it to a piece of paper. If you've got some trick on how to do that, I would love to know. Because it would be easier if I could just put the paper in and print it. But I'm not sure how to do that without taping it to a piece of copy paper. So I did tear a corner of that one off, and I'm just going to decoupage it down just like normal, and put that piece right back in there. I'm using DIY's liquid patina. DIY paint does need to be sealed, so I'm going to use that liquid patina on the entire can, as well as using it for this to decoupage this little bird down. I love this cardinal. I think the female cardinals are beautiful. And I'm putting one picture on the front side and one picture on the back. So no matter where you display this, it will be pretty. And once I have those down, I'm just going to go around the entire piece using that liquid patina to seal in that paint. And then this project will be finished. I like the way this one turned out. It's super simple. And this will carry right through winter. So through Christmas and into the winter months. You could keep this out through probably March. So let me know in the comments below what you think about this project. Thank you so much for giving me some of your time today. I really appreciate you watching the videos and leaving comments. I love to read your comments and I try to answer each one. And it really does help my channel to grow. When you comment, YouTube will share that video out more often to other viewers. If you would like to share my video, that would help as well. Thank you so, so much, and I hope you have a wonderful Christmas and a Happy New Year. Bye for now.